Hello and welcome to another episode of The Average EV. Today I'm going to be doing my 4-month, 10,000 mile review of my 2024 Chevy Equinox EV 3LT. Let's get into it. All right, everybody. Well, it's hard to believe, but I have had the Chevy Equinox here for about 4 months, almost 10,000 miles. I'm at 9,000 something, so we're nearly at 10,000 miles. And so far, I'm really enjoying the whole experience. It's a great car. It's enjoyable to be in, and it's honestly perfect for my use case of commuting and kind of hauling things around. So I've loved it so far, and I thought, you know what? I think I should bring a little bit of an ownership update to you all so you know how things are going. You can ask some questions, you can see what I'm liking, what I'm noticing, and stuff like that. Before we get into the main video, I do just want to remind everybody to subscribe. We've really been growing, things have been growing great, and just by clicking the subscribe button, clicking the like on the videos, it helps me a lot so I can keep bringing you all content that you all want to see. Additionally, and if you could, I have another channel called EV charging site reviews. I'm trying to get that built up so it can actually help people, but with the way the algorithm works, if there's not a lot of subscribers, not a lot of likes, then the videos don't get pushed out. And basically I go to different charging sites and I evaluate them and I just let people know, hey, this is what you're gonna get into when you go to this charging site. So if you could go there, subscribe to that channel, help that channel grow, that would be really awesome so we can keep helping new EV drivers in their new experiences into EV ownership. So we're gonna get into the main video. First, I'll be talking about the exterior and my thoughts about that now, 4 months into ownership. Then we'll hop into the interior and talk about a lot of different things. And with a little bit of driving impressions and how it's been holding up for me over the last 4 months. And then we're gonna call it a video. So let's go ahead, flip the camera around and talk about the exterior of the Chevy Equinox EV. All right, so after 4 months of ownership, I still really like the way that this car looks. I think it's really sleek, impressive. Everyone who I show my car to really enjoys the way it looks. Honestly, both inside and out. So just a really, really awesome car. And I enjoy walking up to it every day. Now down here we have the tires. So I have the 21s, but you can get it spec'd with the 19s. And if you want like a much more comfortable ride, I would recommend that. This is a little bit sportier of a ride for me. It's a little bit harsher. It's not terrible, but if I could find some 19s for sale, or if anybody wants to trade, that would be awesome, at least for the way I like my car to ride. Now the door handles are an annoyance at times. A lot of people do complain about the door handles on some of my videos. So you walk up, they pop out. Of course, they don't pop out here. So if you want to, you just push in and they'll pop out. And then if you want to open the back door, you first have to pull on this and then it unlocks the back door. And that's a little bit annoying. I just wish you could pull any of the handles as long as you had the key fob in your pocket and then you could open the door. This is a minor annoyance and maybe they could fix that with a software update, I'm not sure. And then, just coming to the back, you know, the rear is probably my least favorite part of the car, but I don't hate it. And then I wanted to just kind of go over the lift gate. So there's the auto lift gate, which can be annoying at times. Even just today, it opened up when I didn't want it to, which is annoying. But you can program it if you'd like to not do that. Just actually, I think that's how it comes standard. It won't do the auto lift gate. And if you wanted to, you can adjust the height as well. I have it to full opening, but you can set it to whatever for your garage so you don't hit anything. Now let's move on real quick while we're doing the exterior. Technically this is the interior, but let's go over the cargo space. So there's a pretty good amount of cargo space for this car and for the class and for the price. So here it is. You can fit a lot. We took a trip. We were able to fit everything in it. There is underfloor storage. You see, and there's a deep thing. I got some stuff in there. I have talked about this in some videos where I don't like that this has like specific cutouts for things that I didn't buy. I wish it was just flat all the way across so I could fit stuff. Like when we go on vacation, we bring the dog crate because we need to crate the dog if we're not there, and it's a perfect spot to kind of put it under. we probably could fit it barely, but if we had like an extra ½ inch or maybe an inch, it would fit a little bit better. Now, this floor that it comes with, you can pull it back, it drops down, and you can get a little bit extra room. It's popping up now because I have stuff, too much stuff in the underfloor storage there. So that maybe gains you about another inch of room, and it's pretty easy to actually use and navigate. So there's that. So I've really enjoyed the storage, and it's met my needs at least. If you need to haul a ton of stuff, you know, maybe you need to be looking at a bigger car. And then of course, I always like the auto close is nice. You don't have to worry about it. And that's going to come in the higher spec, higher trim Equinoxes. So with the interior, I mean, I think it's really great for the price category. You know, when you have all the different services for the most part that you would like lean on or something like that, they have a little bit of give, a little bit of plush. Obviously not like, you know, Napa leather, but it's good enough for the price range, and it is comfortable. I don't find it to be uncomfortable. And again, I have the 3LT, so I have the Evo Tex material, so and it's perforated because of the ventilated seats. But the LT for the 2025 model year is going to come with cloth seats. I've looked at them; they're kind of like black and blue, and they look nice. I'm sure it's just standard cloth seats, but yeah. Now I did want to share this, my center console lid, and I'd wonder if you all have been having the same issues, or maybe if you check out a car if it has the same issue, but it doesn't like lock steady. Bounce, bounce, bounce. And I'm not sure exactly why it does that, but it's very annoying. So every time I push down, I feel it go down. I wish that was solid. I might actually, when I take it in for a service, see if it's something they could fix or if that's just how it was designed. But definitely a little bit annoying, and I wish that maybe quality control had found that and fixed it. I really didn't notice it upon delivery. Like I noticed a couple other things about the car. Now, as far as seats, I find them to be extremely comfortable. The bolsters work well for me and for my body. I feel like my thighs are supported well. When I'm sitting here, I feel comfortable sitting here for an extended period of time. From what I can tell, the cloth seats look pretty similar, so it should be equally as comfortable. And obviously, with this, I have the power adjustable. I can adjust the lumbar. I can do memory seats. I can actually tie that to a key fob, and yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, I could sit in this car for a long time. I definitely think it's a little bit more comfortable than the ID4 as I've continued to be in it a little bit more, and that's my other car, so that's what I have to kind of compare it to. Additionally, at least with my trim, and you can get it in some trims with different packages added for the 2025 model year, but I do like the ventilated and heated seats during the summer. It's really nice to just pop on those ventilated seats, and it's so comfortable. And then the heated seats. And with my trim, there's actually heated seats in the rear, so yesterday we had a friend riding in the back, and they're like, ooh, I can have heated seats. And I'm like, yes, you can. And so we all had heated seats, and we're very, very comfortable because it was a little bit chilly of an evening. So another highlight of this car that I've really been enjoying is the infotainment. It's big, it's easy to use, the buttons are easy, you can customize things and put whatever you want up here. It's nice and responsive. Like I really have no complaints. I know people talk about other brands of cars and talk about how their infotainment's superior. I just don't understand like how much more superior it really is. Like, what do you need? This does everything I need. I don't know. I think people get a little too picky when it comes to infotainment sometimes. For me, as long as it's functional, easy to use while driving, and not super laggy, I can be happy. And just look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Goes where you want to go. Can go to settings, connections, whatever you want to do. So I don't know. And I do love the built-in maps with Google. It works really well. It does route planning, which is awesome. Let me actually do a route plan really quick. All right, so here's a trip to Disneyland. We're going there next summer, so we're very excited. And it wants me to specify Disneyland Park. And let's see how long it takes for it to plan a route. So I found the route it wants to take. Multiple chargers needed, and now it's finding the chargers. And there we go. So that's pretty good, and that's 24 charging stops, so really nice. This is actually the route, not the route we're gonna take, but that's okay. And then if you click here, you can see all the different superchargers, and as you can see, I have the Tesla superchargers enabled here, and it tells me that I need the NACS adapter. And yeah, so that's pretty awesome. Love Google Maps. I've actually typically don't like Google Maps, but I've started to, it's grown on me, and I like that they've added this feature like that Waze has, which is, you know, one of the reasons why I liked Waze a little bit more. And so yeah, enjoyable there. One thing I will say though about the route planning is I find the estimate for arrival for state of charge tends to be a little conservative, and I typically arrive at the destination or the charge or whatever it may be with a higher state of charge than they said I was gonna arrive with. So I would say for the most part, if you know it says you're gonna arrive with 10, you're probably gonna arrive with more than 10. I really don't think I've ever had an instance where I arrived with less than I was expected to. So that's good, and I think that's really good for new drivers, so you can have confidence when you're driving the EV and you can trust the route planning. I've also been really enjoying this driver's display. It has everything you really would want. It displays state of charge. It shows the power. When you charge, it shows how much power is going into your battery. You can customize this over here with current trip. You can have trip A and B, or energy consumption, whatever you want. I mean, it just does everything I want it to do, and I enjoy it. Now, this is the layout I like for the Equinox, but you can, if you want to, you can customize it, and you can go to a different one. So there's that one. It's not too bad. I really love this, where you can have the maps built in. This one I almost never used, but there it is. And then they call this like the simple one. I don't really use this one very often. And then we're back to the one I like to use. So, you know, did they need to have all those different versions? Maybe not, but you know what? It's good for people who have different tastes, so they can adjust it to what they would like. And I've really enjoyed using this system. The last thing I'm going to touch on as far as infotainment is concerned and the software is the Google Assistant. It works really well in my experience. Sometimes it's a little glitchy. I'm not sure if it's like a connection issue or something like that. Like I ask it a question or ask it to do something and then it doesn't work, and then I do it immediately after and it works. So that's kind of a weird little bug, but it's nice to have. It'll pull up music. I can have it navigate to things. It will just answer random questions. So really enjoy having that system as well. And since it's Google, you know it's good, and it's gonna work well and be intuitive. Now I just want to talk about some of the safety features of the car. Generally, they're great. They have some little quirks here or there. One of those quirks being, I feel like the front collision and rear collision alerts are a little bit sensitive. So, for example, I'll be in my neighborhood. It's not like the widest road, but it like cars can get through, and people will park on both sides, and sometimes you'll kind of have to knife through everybody. And when you're doing that, when clearly I'm at a low speed and I'm not going to hit a car, it thinks I'm going to hit one of the cars just because it's like in front of my car as I'm trying to knife through the traffic. It's a little bit sensitive there. Sometimes I'll even be on a road, and if maybe like there's a turn and there's a car parked on the side, it'll think I'm going to hit it when I'm clearly not going to. Kind of a little bit weird behavior. I'm not sure if they can fix that or not with an update, but I did want to mention that. And then with the rear collision, I have a pretty steep and short driveway, and when I back down it, sometimes it kind of freaks out and thinks I'm going to hit something, and then it slams on the brake, which is really alarming, especially early in the morning, and I'm like just trying to wake up. But yeah, I wanted to mention that as well. Maybe a lot of people don't deal with that issue. Leave it in the comments down below, but I certainly have found some issues with that. So something I don't talk about a lot, but I do like as far as safety features are concerned, is the fact that if you're about to hit something or someone's passing you, there's all these little alerts on your seat. So your seat will vibrate. And then also with the steering wheel, at least for the ones with Super Cruise, that'll turn red. And then on the windshield, where I'm guessing the HUD was supposed to be, there'll be like red arrows that pop up on your windshield to alert you in an emergency situation. So I think that was a really nice touch for Chevy to add to this car to make it even safer and to help people in situations where maybe they didn't notice something or whatnot. And lastly, I just want to talk about the surround view monitor for parking and other situations. It's really nice. I like having it. I think the cameras are pretty clear. I was actually in the ID4 today, and the cameras are way better in the Equinox than they are in the ID4. The ID4 looks like a really, really old, cell phone. But for the Chevy Equinox EV, the cameras are nice. I just wish there was like if it was a little bit bigger, because there is a lot of real estate on the screen and they don't really use it well. But you know, it's not the end of the world. You can still see with it pretty well and use it and help you when you're looking around your car, and obviously if you're just backing up or trying to pull up forward. Now, if you've been following my channel for any period of time and following my Chevy Equinox EV content, I've been talking a lot about the charging. And I feel like sometimes I scare people a little bit because it doesn't charge great. But what I've really found is it might not matter for you. The charging, it's not the best, but it's usable, it's workable. And I think for many use cases, it's probably going to be fine. And it's clearly not class leading. There's obviously other cars. The Ioniq 5 can go 10 to 80 in 18 minutes. This isn't gonna do that. This isn't even gonna do it in twice that time. Well, occasionally I'll get it to be 36 minutes. But it's still gonna be all right. Now, when you compare it to other cars in its class, like price class, I guess if you wanna call it, it's the best charger, compared to Kona or the Mini Cooper or other stuff like that. But obviously, people are always going to be comparing a big SUV like this to the other ones of the same size. And yeah, it doesn't kind of meet the expectations of those cars. So if you need a car to charge really fast, then maybe look at those. But if you have a family like we do, and you're going to be 20-25 minutes at a stop, this car's going to be perfect for you. Like it's almost like you're paying for something you don't need at that point if you're getting a faster charging vehicle and you don't really need it. All right, so now I'm gonna give some recommendations as far as charging if you already have this car, or if you're looking into this car, what you might want to expect as far as charging on a road trip. And I'm saying you're gonna wanna drain it down to 20 or 30% state of charge, and then you're gonna wanna charge it back up 70, 80%. I wouldn't go more than that because it takes forever personally, and I don't wanna sit around at a charger and waste time. I'd rather just move on to the next charger. Now, why am I saying 20 or 30, not 10%? Why not 0? Because some people say go low so it goes fast. What I've noticed with this car is when you get to a lower state of charge and then you do a charging session, because of the way all the charging works for this car, some components of the charging system heat up, and then it eventually has what I've been calling the GM dip. So it's a thermal derate, which lowers the speed of the charging, and then it does slowly build back up. But that's just wasting time. And if we can avoid the GM dip, we're gonna save time. So that's why I'm saying 20 or 30%. Now, I'm hoping that Chevy can fix the GM dip over time. We'll see. But as of right now, 2024, November, I'm saying pull it down to 20, 30%, then charge back up. And from what I can tell from a lot of drivers, that's kind of where they tend to go anyways, just so they feel safe and they feel like they're not gonna run out of battery. And the last thing with charging with this car, which is just a huge benefit, is it right now has access to the Tesla supercharger network, so long as you have an adapter or you go to a supercharger with a Magic Dock that's already attached. And that's just a game changer. You can pretty much now go wherever you want and know that you're going to be able to charge, which honestly is relieving to me, and I'm sure relieving to a lot of people who are looking to get into EVs, but have heard some not so great things about the charging infrastructure. And then, of course, you have the Tesla supercharger, but you could go to other networks if you wanted to. But I found that Tesla actually tends to be some of the cheapest charging. Now on to range and efficiency. So for the most part, I've been pretty impressed with the range and efficiency of the Chevy Equinox EV. It's perfect for my commuting purposes. I'm finding myself getting anywhere from 3.4 to 4 miles per kilowatt hour. There's been a couple times I've actually gotten 5 miles per kilowatt hour. I'm not sure, but I guess the stars were in alignment, planets were in alignment, and I was getting that. But what that kind of translates to, if that's my efficiency all the time as I'm commuting, that translates to like at a 100% state of charge, having about 297 to 340 miles of range, which is great. And that's at about 40 miles per hour average driving. So I'm not sure what your driving's like, but if yours is like mine, around 40 miles per hour average, you're gonna get some pretty decent range. when winter rolls around, I'm interested to see what happens. There's going to be a little bit of a hit. I'm just not sure how much hit. And I'm going to do a whole winter driving thing once it gets cold enough that I can do some testing with the Equinox EV. I am noticing now that it's fall that I'm getting a lot better efficiency. I know this car has a lot of issues with thermals and parts overheating. So I do wonder if I were to do a range test with this, if it would perform a little bit better in cooler weather. I bet it would, if I'm being honest. Obviously, we know temperature has a major impact, but for this car particularly, because the thermals in the car aren't as great, I think it just makes it waste a little bit more energy than it needs to, like other cars do when it's hotter outside, which is fine. I am going to do a winter range test. I'm going to wait for it to get to like 32 degrees consistently and then see what I get, because I think that would be interesting and something that people would want to know about. As far as range is concerned on road trips, I've really had no issues. Again, when I did my 70 mile per hour range test, I got like 264, and I redid it again, and I got 268 miles. On my road trips, I've had efficiencies that would show that I would have more than what I got in that 70 mile an hour range test. So, you know, with EVs, it can be all over the place depending upon elevation and temperature and wind and yada, yada, yada. So sometimes, a lot of times I just have to ignore that and just know, like, I have enough range to get to the next charger or 2 chargers away. It's like 200 miles, 180 miles, whatever it is. I know I can get there. And so as far as range is concerned, I think this thing is great. And I think it'll meet most people's daily needs. And I think it'll really meet a lot of people's road tripping needs, especially if you have a family and you're going to be at a charger for a little bit longer. I think it's really nice. So one last thing I want to talk about before we kind of get on the road and do a little bit of my driving thoughts is I really like the adaptive cruise control. I think it works really well. I think the braking is really natural, and I really enjoy it. And I use it every day. I use it all the time. I love cruise control. I don't know why people don't. I even use cruise control when I'm just on like back roads and B roads. It's just nice to not have to constantly be modulating the pedal. And obviously when you go down and downhill, it'll regen automatically and do all that stuff. So yeah, I really enjoy the adaptive cruise control as a part of the ADAS suite. And then not everybody has this, but if you have Super Cruise, I really do enjoy Super Cruise. I find it performs way better on highways. They are now adding B roads, so not main highways, and it works well on that. I've actually been on some really curvy B roads that have Super Cruise, and it does pretty well, if I'm being honest. But if there tend to be issues, there tend to be more issues on the B roads than on major highways. If you drive a lot on highways, I think it's a must-have. It just helps reduce the mental fatigue of driving for extended periods of time, and it allows you to have a much more enjoyable experience in your car. So if you haven't used it, you know, definitely give it a try. It's very nice. One thing that's not so great about Super Cruise is the automatic lane change. It's good in principle, but for their system, it just makes some decisions that like the average driver probably wouldn't make, and kind of makes other people think you're crazy. And additionally too, when it does get over, it doesn't always like accelerate enough in case there's a car approaching you from behind you in the passing lane. So I think it definitely needs to have a little bit more to get you into the lane. And then if it wants to bring you back over, it can bring you back over. But it's good in concept. Maybe that's something they can tweak with some updates over time. All right, so now we're gonna talk about the driving. I'm here on the highway. I've got Super Cruise activated, which is really a game changer, especially when you're doing long distance traveling on the highways. But overall, this thing drives great. It's very solid and stable when driving in general. Maybe the only time it isn't is when you're taking like a curve, like an exit or something like that at, you know, like 25 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, depending upon the exit speed. Just because it has the front wheel, so you can kind of feel a little bit of the sway in the back when you're turning, but it's really not that big of a deal. And again, it drives really nicely. I think this is worth noting, like the best acceleration range of this vehicle. So this car is not a drag racer, and it doesn't have a lot off the line. It's still more than any comparable ICE car, but in comparison to EVs, it doesn't have that torque, as much torque down low to get the immediate kind of quick acceleration. that being said, I found that probably like the best acceleration range is between 25 miles per hour and 50 miles per hour. So if you go down, if you hit on the pedal, it's gonna go as fast as you want it to. Once you get above that, it's very lethargic. So if you have to make some like moves, maybe on a highway going 65, 70, you know, you're gonna have to have a little bit more time to navigate those. But again, it's nothing too crazy, and you know, this car just isn't meant to be the fast car. It's just meant to be the family car, the affordable car, and reasonably, you know, priced. As far as the suspension is concerned, it's great for the price of the vehicle. It eats up most of the imperfections in the road, so I really can't complain about that. I wish I had the 19-inch tires. I think I've already said that earlier in this video, but these tires are 21s with a really low profile, so you feel the bumps a lot more. If I had a little bit taller of a tire, it'd eat it up and be a little bit more comfortable of a ride. So especially if you're getting one of the LT trims, it's going to come with that 19-inch and probably be a little bit better of a ride than my 2024 3LT. I do want to build upon what I was saying about the front wheel drive. So like I said, in corners, if it's a faster exit speed and it's a pretty big curve, you can definitely feel the back kind of like move a little bit, but it's really nothing crazy. It still feels safe and stable, but it's just worth noting. So if you want to drift, this is the car for you. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, so there's that. And it's just, you know, when you put your main motor up front with the same thing that you're steering with, that's just always going to kind of be the result. I will note, since the torque is really low, in my opinion, from zero, and then it builds up, I don't spin the tires in this car a lot. When I had the Kona, that was front wheel drive, and literally every acceleration I had to spin the tires out. Maybe that's a problem I have. It's a problem I have. But anyways, with this car, I really don't find myself doing that often. I think maybe I've done it once or twice. And so yeah, like the tuning's a little bit better as far as like saving your front tires for this front wheel drive system that Chevy has on the Equinox EV. And you know, if you really wanted to have a little bit more from zero, you can certainly get the all-wheel drive, and that will help you out there. It's not like anything crazy, the all-wheel drive, like a ton of extra horsepower, but it's enough to make it probably a little bit more respectable in comparison to other vehicles in its class. So those are my driving impressions over the last couple months of this vehicle. I think it's great, and I think it's perfect for families. If you want a car for the track day, you're gonna want to skip this car for sure. But yeah, love driving it. It's comfortable. I can go long distances, and you know, it's really just an enjoyable place to be for a long period of time, at least in my opinion.
All right, everyone, we're coming to the end of the video here, and I just have to say the Chevy Equinox EV is an absolutely awesome car. It's a great deal, especially if you're looking at the LT trim for the 2025 model year. It's just awesome. $35,000, maybe you get the $7,500 off at point of sale, $27,000, you know, out the door. Maybe you have some state incentives too to make it a little bit lower. This is just an awesome car for how much you have to pay for it. Now, a lot of reviewers, when they're reviewing this car and they're comparing it to other cars in the class, they kind of look down upon it a little bit. The charging, it's not impressive. The range is actually okay. It's pretty good. And, you know, some of the tech maybe isn't as up to snuff as other, more advanced technology, but this is just, it's good. It's not amazing. It's just good. And I've really enjoyed my experience with this car. And I think you will too. You know, if you compare this car to the Model Y and the Ioniq 5 and the ID4 and the EV6 when it comes to charging and stuff like that, yeah, it's not as good. If you want faster charging, go get one of those other cars. But if you compare this car to its price class, right, around $35,000 or less, you're looking at Kona, you're looking at Niro, you're looking at the Mini Cooper, the electric SE, you're looking at the Nissan Leaf. Like, that's what you're looking at, and this crushes them. The charging's way better than all of them. The range is way better than all of them. The price in some cases is better than them. This car is a little bit cheaper than the Kona, so like the similarly spec'd Kona, and the Kona only gets like 260 miles. This can get way more.
and the charging is way faster. So I don't know, call me crazy, but I think for what this is, it's a great deal. And if you want to get this car, I think you should go ahead and get it. I've enjoyed it the last 4 months, and I think you will too. Now, do cars have issues? Yeah, all cars have issues, but hopefully you partner with a really good dealer who's willing to support you, like my dealer. And if any issues arise, they'll help you through it. So anyways, that's kind of all I have today about this. If you have any questions, something you think I left out, if you comment down below, I can comment and fill in any holes. I can't say enough how much I like this car. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please remember to give a like, a subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will catch you all next time.